I got a new Christmas present. It's a Maxxair fan.
Does this mean we're putting another hole in Eleanor?
Sort of.
Hey, I'm Rachel.
And I'm Joe.
And we're
two crazy campers. After losing a combined weight of more than 200 pounds.
We realized we had so much more energy for activities.
Come along with us as we explore the great outdoors.
And join us on a brand new adventure.
So we love Eleanor, but I did have a small little issue with her. And that is that they had those small little fans in the bathroom as well as the kitchen and just a skylight in the bedroom.
And we never got all of the steam out when you were taking a shower.
Yeah, part of the problem was it was a cheap fan, but also the bedroom didn't even have a fan, and we want to get into boondocking, like we're going to the Tampa RV show, and we wanted to have some kind of fan in the bedroom blowing down on us. So I installed a Maxxair Fan Deluxe in there, and we liked it so much we decided to get one to put into the bathroom.
Yeah, so I'm excited about this, but I am a little bit worried that we're putting more of a whole space in the trailer.
It's actually a pretty simple installation. The hardest part of the whole installation is getting off the old decor. So I'm gonna head up onto the roof. We're gonna put that in, and then we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more about the Maxxair Fan Deluxe. So the first thing we have to do in order to install the Maxxair fan is remove the old fan. And this is gonna be the most difficult part of the whole installation. So we're gonna start off by going inside of the rig, and we're gonna remove 4 screws which hold on the trim plate. That's going to expose the wires for the old fan, and we can go ahead and cut those 2 wires. Then we're going to come up here on the roof, and this is the hardest part because you have all this decor for the old one. We're going to have to carefully peel it off. The way I do it is I have this old like painter's knife that I use for trimming. We're going to simply use this, and we're going to start carefully peeling it up and make sure that you're not ripping your roof. Now, the easier way to do this that I find is simply go around and try to expose all of the screws, and they are square head screws. We're going to expose them all, and then we're going to unscrew it, and then we can carefully start pulling it up. Okay, sorry about the shadows, but now that we have all of the screws removed, we can carefully start peeling up the ends. So what I did here was I simply pried up one end, and I'm going to use my fingers. Make sure you don't cut yourself on the metal. And we're going to slowly peel it up while using the putty knife to kind of separate the glue from the roof. Now make sure you take your time when you're doing this because you don't want to pull up all the roof material. Once you get a corner up, it makes it much easier. What I do is I'm simply using my hand to kind of push down on the roof as I pull it up so that we're not lifting up everything. Now that we have the old fan out, we have the second most difficult part, and that is getting the rest of this decor off. And I'm going to be honest, it is not super easy. The way I'm going to do this is kind of like peel it a little bit with my fingers as much as possible. Use the putty knife to kind of separate it, but you don't want to scrape because you're going to rip your TPO roof. It's easier to do this if it's not super hot out because this isn't so gummy. But you also can't do it when it's super cold out because then you're going to have an issue with putting down the new decor. I will definitely say take your time when you're doing this because, again, you don't want to rip the TPO roof. It's just going to be some patience and a little bit of hard work with your fingers.
And this is why I do not like being around when Joe is working on the RV.
What's wrong?
You're hanging through the ceiling, weirdo.
Yeah, we have a 14 by 14 hole. Okay, so at this point, we're going to call this good enough. We got most of it off. This is the sealant that was actually under the ring. So I'm going to flatten this out, try to get a little bit more off. And then we're going to put down a layer of Eternabond and put on the new bracket. Okay, so we got as much of the old black sealant off as we could. And wherever we couldn't get it off, we kind of flattened it down a little bit. This is the new bracket. I've put double-sided Eternabond all the way around it. I'll leave a link for what I have down below in the description. Now we're going to simply put this into the hole, and these screw holes are going to go onto the side. Okay, so a little tip. Don't put Eternabond on the wrong side. It's called Eternabond for a reason. So I accidentally put the Eternabond on the side that goes up. So I'm in the process right now of peeling it all off, and it's not that easy. Okay, take 2. After spending an hour getting the Eternabond that I put onto the wrong side of the housing, we're gonna put this down again. So I put Eternabond on the correct side, and you can see this area for the screws, that should be facing down when you're putting the Eternabond on. Now these 2 screw holes, there's 2 on this side and 2 on this side. Those go left to right on the trailer, not front to back. We're gonna go ahead and put this into the hole in the roof. Now while I'm putting it down, I'm going to pull on the TPO so that we don't have a bubble. Okay, so now that we have that in, we're gonna go ahead and screw all of the screws in, and then we're going to cover everything with Dicor. Now I'm not gonna put screws into these holes because there is the Eternabond, which is basically Dicor. Now as I'm screwing these in, I grab some of this TPO below and I pull down. And that's just to try to prevent any of the bubbles. So now that we have everything screwed in, we need to put the wire connectors on this. We have 2 wires here, and then we have the 2 wires that are in the RV. We're gonna go ahead and put the fan in. Now before we do that, we actually have to open up the lid. Otherwise you're not gonna be able to get to the screws, so we're gonna drop it in. There's 4 screws, 2 on each side, and then after that we can put the lap sealant on everything. Okay, this is what it looks like from the inside. We still have to put the trim ring on. Let's go ahead and turn on the switch. And turn it on. Well, it's working. We do have multiple speeds. Now that's exhaust, but they also have where you can turn it on and have a fan blowing in. So we'll go ahead and try that. Okay, final step. Put on the trim plate.
So now that you've installed it, what is the difference between the old fan and the fan we just put in?
Okay, so the old fan had a little tiny fan, and also it, like, when you wanted to raise it up, you had to raise it up, but if it was raining, it was going to allow all the rain to come in.
Oh, that's not good.
The Maxxair fan is a little bit different. It's got a special hood over it, and this is the newer model, so it's not a big giant thing. It's got a little hood so that even if it's raining, you can leave it open. You just can't drive with it open.
Okay.
Now, we didn't buy the full deluxe fancy version that has rain sensors and, you know, automatic. You actually have to manually turn the knob to open it up.
I'm comfortable with that,
But
though.
I'm good with that. You know, hey, we're weekend warriors. We're not like full-time RVers. And this unit here is about $250 on Amazon. I'll put a link for the one that we got down below. But the biggest thing is it's, number one, multi-speed.
Yeah.
So you can have it on just a little bit or you can have it on a lot. And it's also reversible. So you can have it either exhausting out or you can have it blowing in, kind of like having a ceiling fan in your bedroom.
It almost makes me want to go take a shower just to see all the steam leave instead of fogging up the whole bathroom.
So overall, the installation was pretty simple. It took about, for me, it took about an hour and 45 minutes. But that was because I made the mistake of putting the double-sided Eternabond on the wrong side of the mount. And it's called Eternabond
for a reason. Yeah.
So it took me about 30 minutes or so to peel off all that Eternabond and then put it in. But again, the hardest part is getting the Dicor off. Once you do that, it's like a 15-minute installation. So most people can do it so long as you have the patience to pull that Dicor off.
Yeah.
Well, that is going to be today's installation video. Now, if you like seeing videos like this, make sure you subscribe to our channel and also hit the like button on this video.
And don't forget to click the little bell icon, and that way every single time we upload a new video, you'll be alerted to it.
Until next time,
Happy camping!